And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another great edition of the show here. I'm Critique with Carr for Favorite from Friday. As always, if you've enjoyed episodes such as this one, do us a favor by subscribing on YouTube, following us on the audio platforms, clicking on thumbs up or like buttons so you can tell us you enjoy these episodes, turning on post notifications so you can stay up to date on those platforms when new episodes release, as well as clicking at share out so you can continue the podcast with our friends and family. Also, if you want other ways to stay up to date with the show, do us a favor by following us on Instagram at Critiquing with Carr. I say all that because on this week's very excellent edition of Critique with Carr for Favorite from Friday, we're talking about the classic film Good Will Hunting. And with that being said, let's begin. This movie was directed by Gus Van Sant. The co-screenwriters for this film were Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. The film was also produced by Lawrence Bender, and the cast for this film is as follows: Robin Williams, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Stellan Skarsgård, and Minnie Driver. And the cinematographer for this film was Jean-Yves Escoffier. This film was edited by Pietro Scalia. The musical score for this film was done by Danny Elfman. This movie was produced by B. Gentleman, and the distribution company for this film was Miramax Films. This movie was first released on December 2nd of 1997 at the Bruin Theater, and on December 5th of 1997 in the United States nationally elsewhere. The runtime for this film was 126 minutes. The budget for this film was $10 million US dollars, and the grand box office total for this movie was $225.9 million US dollars. The accolades for Good Will Hunting are as follows. At the Academy Awards, Robin Williams won for Best Supporting Actor, as well as Matt Damon and Ben Affleck for Best Original Screenplay. At the Golden Globe Awards, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won for Best Screenplay. At the Berlin International Film Festival Awards, Matt Damon won the Silver Bear Award for Outstanding Single Achievement. The Satellite Awards, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon won for Best Original Screenplay. At the Screen Actors Guild of America Awards, Robin Williams won for Best Performance by a Male Actor in a Supporting Role. At the National Board of Review Awards, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon won the Special Achievement Award. At the Critics' Choice Awards, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck won for Best Original Screenplay, as well as Matt Damon also winning for Breakout Artist of the Year. And finally, last but not least, at the Chicago Film Critics Awards, Matt Damon also won for Most Promising Actor. And now, it comes time for one of my two favorite parts, which is the 9 list off the top 10 high-grossing films for that year's release, being 1997's Good Will Hunting. Coming in 10th place on this list was The Full Monty. It was distributed by Fox Searchlight Pictures. Its worldwide gross was $257.9 million. It stars Robert Carlyle, Tom Wilkinson, and Mark Addy. Coming in 9th place on this list was The Fifth Element. It was distributed by Gaumont Buena Vista International. Its worldwide gross was $263.9 million. It stars Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, and Ian Holm. Coming in 8th place on this list was My Best Friend's Wedding. It was distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Its worldwide gross was $299.3 million. It stars Julia Roberts, Dermot Mulroney, and Cameron Diaz. Coming in 7th place on this list was Liar Liar. It was distributed by Universal Pictures. Its worldwide gross was $302.7 million. It stars Jim Carrey, Maura Tierney, and Jennifer Tilly. Coming in 6th place on this list was As Good as It Gets. It was distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Its worldwide gross was $314.1 million. It stars Jack Nicholson, Helen Hunt, and Greg Kinnear. Coming in 5th place at the halfway mark on this list was Air Force One. It was distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Its worldwide gross was $315.2 million. It stars Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman, and Winnie Crewson. Coming in 4th place on this list was Tomorrow Never Dies. It was distributed by MGM Studios. Its worldwide gross was $333 million. It stars Pierce Brosnan, Jonathan Pryce, and Michelle Yeoh. Coming in 3rd place with the bronze medal on this list was Men in Black. It was distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. Its worldwide gross was $589.4 million. It stars Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith, and Linda Fiorentino. Coming in 2nd place with the silver medal was The Lost World: Jurassic Park. It was distributed by Universal Pictures. Its worldwide gross was $618.6 million, and it stars Jeff Goldblum, Julianne Moore, and Pete Postlethwaite. And finally, coming in at number 1 on this list with the gold medal for the highest-grossing film of 1997 was Titanic. It was distributed by Paramount and 20th Century Fox. Its worldwide gross was $1.84 billion. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, and Billy Zane. And now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, my review of 1997's Good Will Hunting. Good Will Hunting, directed by Gus Van Sant and written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, remains one of the most iconic films of the late 90s. A combination of drama, humor, and profound emotional depth, the film tells the story of Will Hunting, a janitor at MIT who secretly possesses a genius-level IQ. However, Will is a man defined by his troubled past, one filled with emotional scars from an abusive childhood that makes him resistant to accept the potential that others see in him. This struggle forms the emotional core of the film, which expertly explores themes of intellectual brilliance, personal trauma, and the difficulty of embracing change. What makes Will's situation so compelling is that, despite his extraordinary intelligence, he resists the expectations others place on him. This tension is perfectly portrayed by Matt Damon, whose performance carries the emotional weight of the film. It's easy to relate to Will's reluctance to change, especially when that change requires him to confront painful truths about his past. He's built a life around his friends, his routines, and his self-imposed limitations, and the idea of stepping into a future filled with uncertainty terrifies him. Another key player in Will's journey is Professor Gerald Lambeau, played by Stellan Skarsgård. Lambeau is an accomplished mathematician who immediately recognizes Will's potential when the younger janitor solves an impossible equation. Lambeau, like many intellectuals in the film, views Will's brilliance as an opportunity to bolster his own career. While I typically don't enjoy characters who are self-centered or pompous, Skarsgård brings a certain charm to the Lambeau that makes him hard to dismiss. His ego, while irritating, is also a defense mechanism for his own professional and personal insecurities. However, there's an unsettling undercurrent to Lambeau's relationship with Will. The older professor begins to rely on Will not only for intellectual stimulation but also to validate his own sense of purpose. This adds a layer of complexity to Lambeau's character, as his motivation for helping Will seems driven by his own desire to feel important rather than a genuine desire to mentor. In some ways, their relationship feels almost parasitic. Will is used as a tool to add meaning to Lambeau's life. Additionally, there's a slight homoerotic vibe to their interactions, particularly in the scenes where they bond over mathematics. Lambeau's apparent obsession with Will's talent, while intriguing, does feel a bit strange at times. However, the emotional horror of the film comes when Robin Williams enters the picture as Dr. Sean McGuire, a therapist who is assigned to help Will work through his emotional baggage. Sean's approach is radically different from the previous therapists who have tried and failed to reach Will. Where others tried to break Will down intellectually, Sean reaches him on a human level, challenging him to face the emotional scars he's spent a lifetime hiding from. This is where Good Will Hunting reaches its peak, as Sean's warmth and understanding allow Will to shed his tough exterior. Williams' portrayal of Sean is a masterclass in empathy. One of the most unforgettable scenes, Sean takes Will to the park, where he gently breaks through Will's defense by repeatedly telling him, "It's not your fault." This moment is raw and emotional as it resonates deeply as Will finally comes to terms with his trauma of his past. Robin Williams' performance here is powerful and moving, and it's no surprise that he won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for this role. On the romantic side, Skylar serves as the catalyst for Will's growth, pushing him to see that he deserves more than the life he settled for. However, I found her character to be one of the film's weaker elements. While Minnie Driver does a fine job acting, I struggle with Skylar's character in certain scenes. The flirtatious and cutesy dialogue between her and Will, particularly early on, feels forced at times, and I found myself cringing through some of their interactions. This is not a criticism of Driver's acting. She does what she's asked to do, but more a reflection on how Skylar's character sometimes feels like a plot device to move Will's emotional arc forward. Despite this, Skylar's role in pushing Will to confront his own vulnerabilities is essential to the narrative. The final act of Good Will Hunting is where the film truly earns its emotional payoff. After a series of breakthroughs in therapy, Will finally takes the leap to pursue something more meaningful in life. In a moment of self-actualization, Will decides to leave behind his life in Boston, head to California, and try to build a future with Skylar. The film's resolution is both uplifting and bittersweet, as Will and Sean share a quiet, heartfelt moment before Will heads off to follow his dreams. In conclusion, Good Will Hunting is a near-perfect film. Its blend of intellectualism, emotional depth, and raw authenticity make it a powerful expression of human potential and personal growth. The performances are exceptional, with Matt Damon, Robin Williams, and Stellan Skarsgård standing out in their respective roles. The setting of South Boston, coupled with the film's gritty aesthetic, makes the environment feel alive and integral to the story. Though Skylar's character felt a bit forced at times, the film's pacing is generally strong, with each act building to an emotional crescendo that is both satisfying and thought-provoking. Good Will Hunting is not just a film about a genius, it's a film about overcoming inner demons, confronting one's past, and embracing the future, no matter how uncertain it may be. With all that being said about this great film known as Good Will Hunting, I'm both proud and privileged to give this great piece of cinema a great score of 9 out of 10 on the Diamond Dave scale. And with that being said, my film freaks and cinephiles, as always, if you've enjoyed this week's edition of the show here at Critiquing with Carr for Favorite Film Friday, do us a favor by subscribing on YouTube, following us on the audio platforms, clicking on the thumbs up or like button so you can tell us you enjoy these episodes, turning on post notifications on those platforms so you can stay up to date when episodes release, as well as clicking on share so you can help continue the podcast with all your friends and family. Also, if you want other ways of staying up to date with the show, do us a favor by following us on Instagram at Critiquing with Carr. And with that being said, my film freaks and cinephiles, as always, take care and happy viewing.